Have you ever walked into a room and felt invisible, like your presence didn't matter? Now ask yourself, why do some people walk into that same room and suddenly everyone pays attention? They don't speak louder, they don't wear anything flashy, but somehow they pull the room toward them. That's not magic, that's power. And you can have it too. This isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about uncovering the real version of you, the one that already exists beneath fear, hesitation, and self-doubt. The version of you that speaks and others feel it in their bones. The version of you that doesn't just talk, but communicates like a leader. Here's the truth. Success doesn't chase people. Success is attracted to certain energy, certain presence, certain voices. It listens to clarity. It respects certainty. It follows confidence. If you've ever felt unheard, overlooked, or misunderstood, if you've ever wondered why your words don't land, if you've ever been in a room where your ideas were good, but they didn't feel you, then this is your turning point. Because the problem isn't what you say, it's how you say it. And that how, that delivery, tone, energy is what separates followers from leaders. That's what makes people lean in when you speak. Let me tell you something most people never realize. Communication is not a tool. It's a mirror. It reflects your mindset. It reveals your belief system. It tells the world whether you believe in what you're saying or you're still trying to convince yourself. Want to change your life? Change the way you speak to yourself. Want to influence others? Start by commanding your own inner voice, because communication is deeper than words. It's energy, and energy doesn't lie. People might not always understand what you say, but they always understand how you make them feel. And that's why some people become magnetic. They speak with certainty, not arrogance. They speak with calm, not desperation. They don't try to convince. They invite belief. And here's the best part. They weren't born this way. They built it. You can too. But here's where most people fail. They look for tactics. They want quick hacks, a magic phrase, a new gesture. But true power doesn't come from mimicking others. It comes from aligning your inner beliefs with your outer words. When your voice reflects inner peace, inner purpose, and clarity, people feel it. That's why this video isn't just about how to speak. It's about becoming the person worth listening to. It's not about performance. It's about alignment. And I promise you this, if you watch this till the end, and if you absorb what's coming, you won't just communicate better, you'll walk differently. You'll carry yourself with a quiet strength. You'll stop trying to impress and start inspiring. You'll attract respect, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. That's what this video gives you. Not hype, not tricks, not temporary confidence, but something deeper, a shift that lasts. So stay with this, because by the end of this, you won't just learn to speak like a leader. You'll become the person success naturally follows. Success doesn't just follow hard work. It follows how you show up. You've been told to work harder, be faster, push more, and yes, effort matters. But the silent force behind every successful person is how they communicate their value. The world doesn't respond to silent talent. It responds to visible confidence. You could be brilliant, but if you can't express it with clarity, belief, and presence, you'll watch less capable people take the spotlight you were born for. This is the part no one teaches in school. The way you speak, your tone, your words, your posture, sends a message louder than your resume ever could. People don't follow information. They follow emotion. They follow certainty. They follow the person who makes them feel something. And here's what changes everything. You don't need to become someone else. You need to remove the layers that silence your power, the fear of judgment, the habit of shrinking, the belief that your voice doesn't matter. When those layers fall, your true presence rises. You were never meant to hide behind polite words and fake smiles. You were meant to speak with purpose. You were meant to lead with intention. That's why the most successful people, the ones who influence millions, they speak differently. They don't talk to impress. They speak to connect, to shift energy, to move hearts. They're not chasing attention. They become attention. And once you understand this, once you shift your mindset from am I good enough to what energy do I carry, You begin to speak with a different fire, not louder, just deeper, more grounded, more powerful, because success listens not to noise, but to presence. People feel you before they hear you. Your energy walks into the room seconds before your mouth opens. And that first moment, that unspoken presence, tells the world whether to lean in or look away. This is why some people seem to command a room without saying a single word. Their presence is calm, focused, grounded. They don't fidget. They don't rush. They don't shrink. They simply are. That stillness isn't weakness. It's strength in its purest form. Because true presence doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't beg for approval. It radiates certainty. Think about it. When someone walks in with quiet confidence, you feel it. They don't compete for attention. They earn it with silence, posture, and calm energy. That kind of presence makes people trust you before you speak. And when you do speak, every word lands harder. Presence is built by eliminating distraction. It's when your mind isn't racing. When your thoughts, breath, and body are in the same place. It's awareness without tension, power without aggression. You don't need to be loud to be noticed. You need to be intentional. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. Because presence isn't about being seen. It's about being felt. And when people feel you, they remember you. Not because you said something complex, but because you showed up in a way that made them feel safe, challenged, or inspired. That's what leaders do. They hold space with their energy. They create gravity with their presence. You don't have to force anything. Just slow down, breathe, stand tall, and be there. Fully, completely. Because when you learn to master your presence, you won't just speak like a leader. You'll move like one. Your words are not just sounds, they are instructions. Every sentence you speak programs your future, for better or worse. Think about it. When you say, "I'm not good at this," your brain listens. When you say, "This always happens to me," your life adjusts to fit that script. Your language becomes your identity. And identity shapes destiny. Leaders understand this. They speak with precision. They don't waste words on fear, on doubt, on limitation. They speak in ways that lift, expand, and lead. Because every word you speak, especially to yourself, tells your mind what to believe. And what your mind believes, it starts to build. Start noticing your language. Stop saying, "I'm tired," and start saying, "I'm recharging." Stop saying, "I'm bad at this," and start saying, "I'm still learning." It's not just positive thinking. It's rewiring your brain to see possibility. Speak like someone who expects success. Speak like someone who respects their own voice. When you do, others begin to respect it too. Even small changes make a big impact. Replace "I hope" with "I will." Replace "I don't know" with "I'll figure it out." Remove doubt from your vocabulary and you remove it from your life. Words are seeds. Speak fear and you plant anxiety. Speak strength and you grow courage. Your future self is listening, and so is the world. The most successful people use language that reflects vision, not victimhood. They don't complain. They communicate solutions. They don't beg. They declare. When you speak with intention, your words become tools. They build trust. They build momentum. They build lives. So ask yourself every time you open your mouth, am I building something or breaking something? Because your words are shaping your world one sentence at a time. People don't just hear your words. They feel your tone. And in that tone, they sense your belief, your certainty, your truth. You can say all the right things, but if your tone is shaky, rushed, uncertain, the message is lost. Because people don't follow what you say, they follow how you say it. Your tone is the emotional carrier of your words. It's the difference between a command and a suggestion, between confidence and desperation. Leaders don't just speak, they own their voice. Their tone is calm, steady, grounded. Even in chaos, they speak like they've already won. Why? Because their power doesn't come from volume. It comes from control. A low, steady tone tells the world you're not reacting, you're responding. It tells people you're not seeking approval, you're offering direction. And here's something few people realize: speed matters. The rushed speaker sounds uncertain, but the one who pauses, breathes, delivers slowly sounds like they're in command. Silence between words builds gravity. It shows you're not afraid of space. It shows you trust your message. This doesn't mean sounding robotic or cold. It means speaking with weight, with rhythm, with presence. You don't need to yell to be heard. You need to mean every word you say. So slow down. Lower your voice just a little. Let your tone match your intention. Let it say, I know who I am. I know what I'm saying. And I don't need to rush, because when your tone is grounded, your message becomes unforgettable. And that is how power begins to rise, not in noise, but in control. Most people fear silence when they speak. They rush to fill the gap. They panic if there's even a second of quiet. But great communicators, they use silence like a weapon. Because silence is not empty. It's power. It's space for your words to breathe. It's space for your listener to feel. When you pause, even for a moment, something shifts. The room gets still. People lean in. Your words gain weight. Silence says, I'm not desperate for your approval. It says, I believe what I just said is worth sitting with. Most people overtalk. They chase understanding. They chase validation. But those who lead, they don't chase. They allow. They let silence do part of the speaking, because in that silence, the mind processes, the heart opens, the message lands. Try it. Next time you say something important, pause. Let your words echo in the silence. Watch how much louder they feel without raising your voice. Even in conversations, silence holds power. It shows you're listening. It shows you're confident. It makes others reflect before they respond. This is what most people never learn. Real power isn't in talking nonstop. It's in knowing when to stop. It's in knowing the right moments to pause, to hold, to let your presence speak louder than your voice. Silence is not weakness. It's mastery. So speak with intention, and then let it breathe. Let your message settle like dust in a quiet room. Because when you speak from a place of truth, you don't need to fill every second. You just need to mean what you say and let the silence prove it. Confidence is not a gift some people are born with. It's a muscle. And just like any muscle, it's built through action, through repetition, through showing up even when it's hard. The most confident people you admire today, they weren't always like that. They doubted themselves. They struggled. But they made a choice to speak anyway, to stand anyway, to grow anyway. Confidence is built every time you do the thing you're afraid of, every time you say what you really think, every time you walk into the room and decide, I belong here. It doesn't come from perfection. It comes from courage, the courage to be seen, the courage to be wrong, the courage to try again and again. Psychology teaches us your brain builds belief based on proof. So when you take bold action, even small steps, your brain records it. It says, I spoke up and survived. I stood tall and didn't fall apart. I faced fear, and it didn't destroy me. That's how inner power is built. Not through magic, but through motion. You don't have to feel ready to act. You act to become ready. Every confident speaker, every powerful leader started with fear. But they showed up anyway. And in showing up, they built a different identity. So today, stop waiting to feel confident. Start building it. Speak up in that meeting. Hold your eye contact a little longer. Say your truth with a steady tone. Because every time you do, you prove to yourself you're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you feel. You're becoming the person who doesn't chase success, but attracts it. Confidence isn't an accident. It's a decision. Make that decision today. Most people speak to be liked, to sound smart, to impress, but that mindset keeps your message shallow and your power small. Great communicators don't speak to be admired. They speak to create change. They speak with a purpose far beyond ego. They speak to move people. And that's where the real shift happens. When you stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, will this help them? Because when your focus is impact, you speak with more honesty, more clarity, more heart. You don't hide behind fancy words or rehearsed lines. You speak real. You speak direct. You speak with intention. And people feel that. They trust it. They respond to it. Trying to impress makes you self-conscious. It puts the spotlight on your image. But when you focus on impact, the pressure disappears. You're not trying to be perfect, you're trying to serve. And that's when your voice becomes magnetic. Impactful speakers speak from conviction. They believe in what they say. And that belief spreads. It catches fire in the hearts of those listening. You don't need to be flawless. You just need to be honest. Your story, your truth, your lessons, they can change lives, but only if you stop hiding them behind performance. People don't remember perfect speakers. They remember the ones who made them feel something. So stop speaking for applause. Start speaking for effect, for connection, for the change you want to see in others, because the more you focus on impact over image, the more you'll start to see you were never meant to impress the room. You were meant to transform it. Talking is easy, but listening is rare. And that rarity is what makes great leaders stand apart. When you listen deeply, you're not just waiting for your turn to speak, you're fully present. You're absorbing words, emotions, and energy. You're tuning into what's really being said beyond the surface. Listening builds trust. It shows respect. It creates connection. When people feel heard, they open up. They let down their walls. They invite you in. And that is the true power behind successful communication. It's not just about what you say. It's about how you make others feel. A leader who listens not only to respond, but to understand, to empathize, to see the situation from another's perspective. That empathy shapes your words. It guides your tone. It deepens your impact. Without listening, your words become empty. Without listening, your message falls flat. So practice this daily. When someone talks, give them your full attention. Resist the urge to interrupt or plan your reply. Focus on their words, their feelings, their intention. This simple skill will transform your relationships. It will make your words more powerful because they'll come from a place of true understanding. And when you speak after listening, your message carries weight. It shows you care. It shows you lead with heart. Remember, great leaders aren't just great talkers. They are great listeners. Your body is talking, even when your mouth is closed. Every gesture, every posture, every movement sends a message. And most people don't realize how much their body language shapes how others see them. Successful people know this well. They use their body to communicate confidence, authority, and openness without saying a word. Think about it. When you stand tall with your shoulders back, you instantly feel stronger. When you make eye contact, people feel your presence. When your hands are calm and purposeful, your message feels clear. Slouching, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, these signal doubt, distraction, and insecurity. No matter how powerful your words are, weak body language can undo everything. Body language is the foundation of your communication. It sets the stage for your voice and your message. If you want to attract success, start with your body. Practice standing like you own the room. Walk with purpose. Use open gestures that invite trust. When your body matches your words, when your energy is aligned with your message, you create a powerful magnetic force that draws people to you. Your body is your silent ambassador. It speaks before you do. So train it, respect it, let it tell the story of the confident, successful person you are becoming. Because when your body believes in your message, everyone else will too. Stories are how humans connect. They're the bridge between facts and feelings. When you tell a story, you don't just share information, you create an experience that moves people deep inside. Successful communicators know this secret well. They don't bombard with data or empty slogans. They craft stories that inspire, teach, and ignite emotion. Think about the last time a story changed your mind. Maybe it was a personal struggle, or a triumph against odds, or a simple lesson wrapped in someone else's experience. Stories make you relatable. They build trust. They make your message memorable. When you speak like a leader, weave your words into stories. Tell about challenges you faced. Talk about lessons learned. Show the journey, not just the destination. People don't just want to hear what you know. They want to feel why it matters. And stories do exactly that. A well-told story awakens empathy. It sparks courage. It motivates action. So stop speaking in bullet points. Start telling stories that pull people in, stories that make them nod, smile, or even tear up. Because leaders don't just give information. They create moments that stay in hearts forever. Your story is your superpower. Use it to attract success. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. We think it's weakness, but in reality, it's the source of true strength. Successful people don't pretend to have all the answers. They show up with honesty. They admit their fears, mistakes, and struggles, not to seek pity, but to build connection. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you break down walls. You let others see the real you, imperfect, human, and relatable. And that authenticity creates trust. People are drawn to those who are real, not perfect. They follow those who aren't afraid to show their true selves. Psychology proves that vulnerability fosters courage. It opens the door for growth, learning, and deeper relationships. Leaders who embrace vulnerability inspire others to do the same. They create environments where people feel safe to take risks and speak honestly. This is the hidden power of vulnerability. It transforms fear into courage, weakness into resilience, isolation into connection. So don't hide your struggles. Share your story, including the hard parts. Be brave enough to admit when you don't know, because strength isn't about hiding pain. It's about owning it and letting that truth fuel your rise. Vulnerability isn't a barrier to success. It's the bridge that leads to it. Success doesn't come from one moment of brilliance. It's built through consistency. The small, steady actions repeated over time. Think about the people you trust most. It's not because they were perfect once. It's because they showed up again and again. They kept their promises. They acted with integrity. Consistency creates reliability, tells others you can count on me. And trust is the foundation of all strong relationships, personal or professional. Without trust, even the best words fall flat. No one follows someone who's unpredictable. No one invests in someone who can't deliver. Successful people don't rely on luck or charm. They build habits that reflect their values. They speak with the same honesty every time. They show respect every day. Your consistency is your reputation. It's what defines you when no one is watching. So focus on the daily habits that support your goals. Speak with intention. Act with integrity. Keep your word, even in small things. Over time, this creates an invisible force, a magnetic trust that attracts success like a powerful current. Remember, greatness is not a one-time event. It's the result of showing up consistently as the person you want to become. The words you choose aren't just sounds. They shape your thoughts, your emotions, your reality. When you speak negatively, even quietly to yourself, you feed doubt, fear, and limitation. You build walls around your potential. Successful people understand the power of positive language. They speak in ways that build possibility. They focus on what can be done, not what can't. Positive words fuel motivation. They encourage resilience. They open doors. Science shows our brains respond to the words we use. Optimistic language activates motivation centers. Pessimistic words trigger fear and hesitation. So choose your words like a leader. Replace "I can't" with "I will try." Swap "it's too hard" with "I'll find a way." Turn "maybe someday" into "today is the day." This shift rewires your mindset. It rewires your brain. It rewires your future. Remember, you become the stories you tell yourself. Speak stories of strength, courage, and growth. Speak words that build your success, not break it down. Positive language is a daily habit. Practice it until it becomes your natural way of thinking. Because when your words are full of possibility, your life starts to reflect that truth. The moment you stop blaming others, the moment you stop making excuses, is the moment your true power begins. Successful people take full responsibility for their lives. They don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They don't depend on luck or approval. They own their choices, every success, every failure. Because ownership means control, and control means freedom. When you accept responsibility, you stop being a victim. You become the author of your story. You decide where it goes next. Psychology shows that people who take responsibility feel more empowered. They face challenges with a growth mindset. They turn setbacks into lessons. You may not control everything that happens, but you always control how you respond. This is the foundation of real success. No one can give it to you. No one can take it away. You earn it by owning your path, by committing to your growth every day, by refusing to let fear or doubt rule you. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right time. Step up and say, I am responsible. I am capable. I am ready. And watch how the world starts to respond. Because success follows those who own it